What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 17th TheSportUniverse podcast. I'm by myself today. There's a lot of different things in motion with all me, Nick, and Jonathan, so I decided to do it by myself today. With school starting and things like that, we talked about how our schedules are all going to be different and stuff, so we'll see how it continues on. But I'm here. I'm Brian, if you didn't know. If it's your first time checking out our podcast, welcome. And we're just going to get right into it. So first off, I think we have to start with the whole Andrew Luck situation. So yesterday it came out, yesterday being Saturday, it came out that Andrew Luck decided to retire. And there's a few different ways that I look about this. First off, I agree with him, but not with the timing. So his whole thing was that he's had a lot of bad injuries, Andrew Luck, and he's had to play many seasons where he's just in pain. He specifically cited 2016. He said that if he ever got to a point again where he was going into a season and he knew that he was going to be in pain most of the season, he wasn't going to play. And that's apparently what this season was going to be for Andrew Luck. We don't know what injury it is that we probably do, I just don't know what injuries he's actually dealing with, but he decided that he wasn't going to deal with stuff like that anymore, and he's gotten to the point of his career where football isn't really fun for him anymore because of the injury bug and everything. And I've discussed how that's not, when injury bugs happen to players, like elite players who could have like great careers, it really pisses me off and just gets me upset for these guys that have the skills to be great players but are just unlucky. Obviously they're lucky in certain cases, but I mean playing a sport for your career is pretty lucky, but having so much skill for your whole life and putting everything that you are behind a sport, and then you get to the majors and perform at a high level and then the injury bug hits you, it's just like, so I don't want to use the word unfair, but just unfortunate for players like that. DeMarcus Cousins was one of them that I've talked about recently. Now Andrew Luck, Matt Harvey. It's just a constant thing that injury bugs just hit players and there's nothing they could really do to stop them. And Andrew Luck got to the point where he didn't want to deal with it anymore. Now on the flip side of it, I kind of feel like it was a little selfish unless the Colts knew it was coming. And I have a feeling the Colts did know it was coming, just because Andrew Luck's such a nice guy, apparently, and there's been videos of him and stuff that he's such a nice guy that I don't think he would leave the Colts in the dust like this and just decide to not play 2 weeks before the season starts, or I think it is 2 weeks before the season starts. Wow. I feel like that part of the decision was a little unfair and a little selfish of Andrew Luck to do, unless the Colts, of course, didn't know. But I don't even know who their backup quarterback is. It can't be anyone that good. I mean, what's kind of sucky for Colts fans and everything is that Andrew Luck was supposed to be, this was like his MVP season. I mean, every year is every year they say, oh, it's going to be this MVP season and everything. But obviously it can't be anymore. And also they were going to be Super Bowl contenders and everything. And now, of course, those odds have declined by a large portion since Andrew Luck was basically a majority of this team. And for the Colts, it puts them in a situation where they have to find their new franchise quarterback that they thought they would have for a while. I mean, we've seen how hard it is for teams like the Jets, the Browns. I mean, a lot of other teams just don't have a franchise quarterback, and the Colts were lucky enough to get Andrew Luck and have him as their quarterback, but now they're in a little bit of a situation, could face a long time of being not good or not making the playoffs and things like that. The Colts have had pretty good luck with their quarterbacks. They had Peyton Manning, then they had Andrew Luck, but now they're kind of in the dust, and I don't really see who their next best option is. I mean, they're going to have to sign someone to be somewhat good. But for Andrew Luck, I think Like I said, it was the right thing for him to do. Obviously, it's his decision. But it's kind of sucky the way it played out. And it was upsetting because I saw a video. He was on the field with the teammates during the preseason game, and once it ended, he was running off the field, and people were booing him, which I could definitely understand, being that he decided 2 weeks before the season was going to start to stop playing football. But Andrew Luck has been so good for them and has been such a role model that a lot of sports players have trouble being, that I feel like he doesn't deserve being booed and things like that. Andrew Luck is like in that category of rare sports players who are really good and also just really good human beings. There's players that I can think of like David Wright, Derek Jeter, Curtis Granderson, even though he's not like great, but he's pretty good. He was pretty good. He was good. It's a rare category and not a lot of people are in there, but Andrew Luck was one of them. So it sucks to see a role model decide to call it quits. So next, I guess we can discuss, since we're in football, the whole Baker Mayfield and Josh. Hold on. I feel like I might be mixing up quarterbacks here. Josh. Is it Josh? Yeah, it's not Josh Allen. Daniel Jones. I'm so stupid. Sorry about that. Giants rookie quarterback. Everyone knows who Daniel Jones is. So Daniel Jones has had like an amazing preseason and everything like that. And I wrote an article about this. But there's a whole Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones drama. In the latest issue of GQ or online, I forgot what the whole thing is. The clickbait or whatever you want to call it, the title of it, or what went viral off of the interview was Baker Mayfield saying that he was surprised that the Giants picked Daniel Jones. And in the 21st century, no one actually reads articles and everything, and it's only the big points that are highlighted. And so what became viral from that was the fact that Baker Mayfield was surprised that the Giants picked Daniel Jones. And that was the quote that people took from it. However, people didn't really do their research, and it kind of got blown out of proportion, and Baker Mayfield had to have a whole press conference, or not press conference, just got questioned about it, and he decided to explain further. And what he said was that his words were taken out of context, and people always say that, but his words were literally taken out of context. It went pretty into detail, an article I was reading. There are 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph, he was talking about how quarterbacks are evaluated in the NFL and how sometimes it's unfair and things like that. And then the next paragraph was about how the Giants picked Daniel Jones. And he wasn't saying that he was surprised based off the skill of Daniel Jones that the Giants picked him, but based off his stats and everything, all the losses he had at Duke and things like that. I mean, he used himself as an example. He said he was surprised that he went number 1, being how short he is and how much quarterbacks are evaluated for being tall versus being short. So that was not a big thing, but he did a TheSportUniverse reacts on that, so watch. Oh no, I didn't. I did an article on that. I was going to do it, but I did an article on that. You can go read it at TheSportUniverse.com. Let's see, what other NFL news is there? I don't think there's... Oh, the whole Antonio Brown thing. I also did an article on this, but... So Antonio Brown did a second case against the NFL saying that he wasn't given a proper amount of time to be able to find a helmet to wear, a proper helmet to wear, so he should be able to wear what he wants until the proper amount of time is given. So he wanted a full year to be able to find a helmet like players like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers got, which I guess I could see how that makes sense, but Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are people that the NFL picked to give a year to, and they didn't pick Antonio Brown, so he has to get over it and just find an effing helmet. He's so annoying. It's like literally not a big deal, but he's blowing it out of proportion. But he lost that second grievance against the NFL, so I don't know what his plan is now, if he's going to actually play football or not for the Raiders. At this point, like, the Raiders are just like probably so pissed off that they did this and have gotten nothing out of Antonio Brown except for bad press and things like that. Nothing good. So we'll see if he actually plays. Stuff like that. So that's basically all the NFL news. NBA. Oh, this is big. I forgot to write an outline for this podcast, so I'm just going off the cuff, basically. Cuff. I think it's cuff. So Team USA lost to Team Australia in an exhibition game. I did a TheSportUniverse reaction on it. It's actually doing pretty well for a reaction video, so go watch it. So Team USA, it was an exhibition game for the World Cup, which is in a week, and the Team USA was on a 78-game winning streak in World Cup matches and things like exhibition games and everything else. The last time they lost was in the semifinals to Greece in 2006. So going into this game, obviously Team USA was favorited, like they always are, but they were upset by Team Australia behind Patty Mills. Patty Mills went on this run, this like 10-point run at the end of the game to seal the deal for them. He had 30 points. Team Australia came back from a 10-point deficit. So the whole thing with Team USA this year is that no big stars are playing, and a large reason for that is the injuries that are possible from Team USA, which totally makes sense. Like, why risk all the money you can make in the NBA by getting injured playing for Team USA? Obviously, a big part of the World Cup and like the Olympics and things like that is playing for your country. But I think at this point it's only a World Cup and it's not the Olympics, so big name players aren't really playing. I mean, I think the biggest name is Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, players like that. Marcus Smart. There's another one. But yeah, there's not a lot of big players playing. So it's kind of like new for Team USA. They're still the favorite, I would say, but it's not by much like it usually is. So there's a lot of teams vying for being number one overall. Serbia, I read, is pretty high up there. Australia, obviously, after this, has some really high expectations. Greece has Giannis, the MVP, playing for them. Now that's kind of interesting. Like, he's like the one big star that's actually playing in the World Cup, and he's a pretty big star for Greece to have. So obviously they are high in those power rankings to win it all. So I said in the video that it's actually interesting this year because I'll actually probably watch the World Cup. I never really do because I just assume USA is going to win. It might sound cocky, but I mean that's basically the truth. They always have the upper hand, and they still really do, I would say. But it's definitely going to be more competitive and kind of interesting to watch at this point. Let's see, what other news can we talk about? NBA-wise, I think that's it. Yeah, this is going to be a shorter podcast, by the way, because it's kind of late and there's not much to talk about. So it's not going to be the longest. I'd say probably 15, 20 minutes. So I guess I'll talk about the Mets for a little bit. The Mets are still doing pretty well. They got swept by the Braves, but at this point the Braves are so good on every single thing that I just expect the Mets to lose, which is bad. I mean, they fought hard, but they have been, but they just got outplayed and got outclassed basically by the Braves. So they're 3 games out. I'm going to the game on Tuesday, so you know what I look like. So if you see me there, say hi to the 66 subscribers that we have. If you see me there. I'm excited for the game on Tuesday. Just because it's a big series against the Cubs, which is something to talk about. It's the Nationals and the Cubs, I think, who have the first 2 wild card spots, and the Mets are 3 games behind the Cubs. So if they can sweep the Cubs this upcoming series, they'll be in pretty good positioning going into the rest of the series. I mean, they're playing teams that are in the wild card hunt for the rest of the season, or a majority of the season. They're playing the Phillies, I think the Brewers, the Cubs. So if they can win these series, they make it to the playoffs. So everything's kind of in their hands, like indirectly or directly, I don't know. But they have to win to get in, which is, I guess, a good thing, kind of. I'd rather them be in the playoffs, but I guess it's interesting. So they got swept by the Braves, and the Braves are just really good, which is annoying because the Braves were bad a couple years ago, and that was fun when they were bad because the Braves are always top of the division, so are the Phillies. And it kind of flip-flopped, and the Mets and the Nationals were there, and now it's the Phillies and the Braves, but hopefully the Mets can make the playoffs this year, obviously. So they got swept. Pete Alonso broke 40 home runs, got to 41 home runs, broke the Mets record for home runs, which is crazy. He's a rookie, and the Mets have never had anyone break 40 home runs, which is also kind of sad when you think about it. I mean, they've been around since 1962 and haven't had any players hit over 40 home runs, even in the steroid era. Really nice to see. I mean, the Mets looking forward, like, past the season, I'm, like, optimistic, but I always say that going into the next season. But they have, like, now, like, a young core of pitchers and hitters, which is kind of interesting because, like, 2 months ago I was complaining that they don't have any hitters. But if you actually think about it, they have Michael Conforto, Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, J.D. Davis now, who I learned they have control till 2024. Brandon Nimmo's coming back. Did I say Pete Alonso? Let me start over. Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Michael Conforto. Those are like J.D. Davis. Those are like 4 key players that they have control of, and then they have players like Brandon Nimmo who could still be really good. We have to see how he comes back from injury. And they have Wilson Ramos under control. He's not young, but they have him under control. They have players to build around. They have like a nice core to build around finally. It'll be interesting. I feel like if the Wilpons can decide not to screw things over again, that like they'll have players that want to come play for the Mets, which the Mets haven't had that much success with because they don't like giving out big contracts. But I think players are starting to realize how fun it is to play for Mets fans. I mean, ever since the Mets have went on this run, every game at Citi Field is so crazy and loud, and the players have been talking about it, and it's just really fun. It's fun to watch, it's fun to be there, and to be actually on the field and play and make great plays and have the fans react to you like that, it must be really exciting. Edwin Diaz continues to suck. I feel bad for him at this point. I mean, he's like the only player that Mets fans actually hate. I mean, kind of deservedly because it's not his fault, but they gave up a lot for him, and he hasn't done anything close to what he was supposed to. It seems like every game he comes in, he gives up a home run and makes either the deficit larger or ruins the lead that they have, which sucks. And I thought that Edwin Diaz might be getting out of it. He had like a big ninth inning a couple of nights ago against the Braves, and it seems like he was pitching really well, and I thought that would be the turning point for him, but he gave a home run to Freddie Freeman yesterday, so that's not what happened. I think that might be where I stop. Let me just go over everything, think if I forgot anything that happened this week. Yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another podcast. I don't know who's going to be doing it. I'll definitely be doing it, but everything's up in the air, really, because I have school starting and stuff like that. So we'll figure it out. My goal is to still, during the year, be able to post content every day. I feel like I probably can do that. It just depends how school starts, how hard the classes are, and things like that. But thanks for listening. Keep watching our videos. Keep subscribing. We're up to 66 subscribers. Our highest video is the Kevin Durant video, which is at 6.5 thousand. So if we can get this to 10,000, that'd be really cool. We have another video, Fernando Tatis, that just passed 1,000 views. So keep watching them. Comment. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us how we can improve. If you are interested in editing videos for us, writing articles, or have any ideas about what to do for our Instagram, email us at TheSportUniverse2019@gmail.com, where you can comment on the videos. Yeah, and that's it. Thanks for listening.